I'm Shelly Palmer.
I'm Ross Martin.
And you're listening to Think About This.
Today we're going to think about
why none of us have time for the truth.
Why this person does not exist actually does exist.
Why even the laws of physics may not be true.
We're talking with storyteller and chicken lover Morgan Spurlock about life, liberty, and Supersize Me Too, Holy Chicken.
We've got more of our awesome plan to get us 1 million Twitter followers.
And why sometimes you just can't tell the truth.
And much, much more. So, welcome to Think About This.
The more you listen,
the less you know. Hey, Ross.
Hey, Shelly.
How are you?
Pretty good.
We're in episode 2.
It is episode number 2.
It's us, man. We're doing the second episode. This is amazing. We got through the first one.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. We're going to theme this episode.
That's a good idea.
We're going to theme it the truth.
Okay, what is the truth?
Yeah, that's the question. What is the truth? What is true? It's 2019, almost 2020. What is true?
Think about this, Shelly. What if I were to tell you that you yourself have propagated, maybe just retweeted, stuff that's not actually true or real, and you just don't know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In fact, just the other day, I was looking through my Twitter feed and I see a tweet from Richard Dawkins, who's a hero of mine, by the way.
Amazing writer.
Amazing writer, great computer scientist, the inventor of the meme.
Invented the freaking meme.
Yes, he invented the word meme, the concept of the meme, and that's all laid out in his book, The Selfish Gene, which, by the way, you should be reading, Ross. Have you read it?
I have not read it. I know that you're not allowed to work with Shelly Palmer without having read it.
You have to read this book. Anyway, so Dawkins sends this tweet out that says more than 60,000 people have signed a petition to stop a doctor from getting sacked for asking a Muslim patient to remove her veil. And this has happened in the UK. And I'm like, wow, that's an injustice. And Richard Dawkins never tweets stuff like that. And I was going to press the button. And then I thought to myself, maybe I'll read the article.
All right. So this is a doctor who is getting fired for asking a Muslim woman
to remove her veil. To speak to him while the guy was treating her kid, supposedly. So I go read the article, and the article's in The Independent.
And this was retweeted by Richard Dawkins.
And he actually did 2 tweets. One to talk about it, and then one to send the petition out.
To say, sign this petition.
So there's 2 tweets. So I'm reading this article, and the article is so divisive, and it's so like, wow. And I didn't know, I don't know anything about this guy.
Right, so you went to do some homework on it.
I could find nothing anywhere. Nothing. I went to Snopes. I Googled. I got 3 results on the name of the hospital. I put in the name of the hospital. I got 3 results. I'm thinking to myself, when's the last time you put anything into Google and just got 3 results?
Yeah, I don't know. How can this actually happen?
I decided I wasn't going to sign. I wasn't going to do anything. And then it occurred to me, I don't have time for the truth. I spent 10 minutes trying to figure out if this thing was real or fake. And it may be real. I don't know. There's an article that says here that I found just today, this morning, it says 125,000 people have signed the petition. I still don't know. The guy who actually put the petition up, his Twitter account was deleted. And Richard Dawkins has this incredible disclaimer on his Twitter bio. It says, and I'm going to quote this, RTs don't imply endorsement nor exhaustive research of the tweeter's CV. Seriously?
Yeah, so he's off the hook.
He's off the hook.
This could be completely untrue.
I spent over 10 minutes researching this thing. Now, every time I see a tweet, I'd need 10 minutes. Every time I see a Facebook post, I need 10 minutes. Now I'm rethinking my own life. How many times have I retweeted or reposted something where I actually don't know its provenance? No one has time for the truth.
Think about that.
You're listening to Think About This. Coming up, we've got Morgan Spurlock, self-described storyteller and lover of chicken. Hey, Ross.
Yes.
We have a Twitter handle.
We do. I like our Twitter handle.
At Think About This.
Very, very original.
But we're only following one person.
Yes, we are.
Just one, Chrissy Teigen. This was your plan.
Yeah, because it worked for Taco Bell.
It did work for Taco Bell. They got millions of followers after she followed them. There's only one problem with your plan.
She's not following us.
Well, she hasn't followed us back.
Yet.
I reached out to her. I got crickets. So, Ross, what do we do?
Well, she's listening. So, Chrissy, this is to you. This is your formal invitation to follow us. Shelly.
Ross.
We've got Morgan Spurlock is here.
The one, the only. Is he going to supersize me? Because I'm already pretty supersized.
He's going to do it not once, but twice.
Really?
But first, some introduction. Everybody knows your first film, which is Supersize Me. It premiered in 2004 at the Sundance Film Festival. And then most recently, he just came out with Supersize Me 2, which has
Holy Chicken.
colon, and then it says Holy Chicken.
Holy Chicken.
Holy
Chicken. You got to exclaim it.
Welcome to the show, Morgan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I got to tell you, before I saw Supersize Me 2, I actually experienced it because Theo and I, Theo's 10, went to Morgan's pop-up restaurant, Holy Chicken. And it was a pop-up chicken joint.
It's a chicken, yeah. It's a 100% transparent experience. It's a completely honest, fast casual restaurant.
Okay, so Theo and I walk into Holy Chicken, the restaurant. And I'm psyched because I'm going to see Morgan. And like he told me and other people told me the chicken was like really good. Like you got to have that fried chicken sandwich. And I was psyched. And by the way, it was the same time when like fried chicken sandwiches
were blowing up.
Yeah. You couldn't
It is one of the greatest chicken sandwiches I'll ever eat. I will stand by. It is the greatest chicken sandwich you'll ever have.
I go in there and let me tell you, my first impression was this is a beautiful store. I didn't read like what was printed on the napkins or on the placemats. I just went in there because I wanted a really good chicken sandwich.
How was the chicken?
It was like top three in my life.
Chicken sandwiches.
Yes.
That is high praise coming from you.
It was amazing. I loved the chicken sandwich. My son loved the nuggets, or what you didn't call them.
Little cluckers.
Little cluckers. And but then while you're sitting there, you start to read the things on the napkin, on the wrapper, on the placemat, on the wall. If you read what's on the wall, it's telling you how bad this food is for you.
And how many people read what was on the wall, Morgan, actually?
I'd say about half. Half the people that come in probably consume not just the food, but the stuff that's around them.
And did it stop them from eating it?
No. It doesn't stop anybody. It doesn't stop anybody from eating it. That's
crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't stop anyone.
It looks like a healthy store.
So Morgan, take me through this. A 2,800 calorie chicken sandwich with enough bad fat, not good fat, with enough protein in it for 5 days.
Well, unlike the other places, what we do is I tell you from the minute you walk in is that, that this sandwich that you're about to buy with the things that go with it, that's a meal and a half. So you're already getting almost twice as many calories you should be getting in one sitting in a meal.
Right.
So just so you know, here's how many calories you're getting. And then when you leave, we also tell you, since most nutritionists and doctors, say you should only eat this food once a month, on the door when you leave, it says, hope we don't see you soon, because most doctors say you shouldn't eat this food but once a month, but our sandwich is so delicious. Well, sure, you'll be back, in the next couple of weeks. So take care, And so for us, it's just how do we peel this onion back in a way that gives you the most honest, transparent experience, that talks about the food industry, that tells you about how you're about to eat the most devoured animal on the planet. We eat 9 billion chickens a year. 17.
That's just what I eat.
Yes, exactly. You and me both. Between you and me, it's like that's
it's over.
And I think people don't have an understanding of kind of where their chickens come from, of how the food system works. And I think that's the whole goal of Holy Chicken is how do I give you what you want? And ultimately what you want. And people are like, oh no, the people want grilled chicken sandwiches. Nobody wants a grilled chicken sandwich. We just don't want to be told it's a fried chicken. We want to be told it's crispy. That way it sounds better for us.
Right, you never use the F word.
So there's fried. We never use
that.
F word. We say that also on the wall. We never use the F word or Holy Chicken. So we use all of this, what's called a health halo in the food world, to make you think things are better for you than they actually are. And this is what the entire industry does now to kind of greenwash your food experience to make you think you're getting something better for you, the environment, etc.
So I honestly believe that big food is the next target. Big tobacco was a target. Big food's got to be the next target. And looking at what you did, one of the fantasy restaurants I had in my mind was, wouldn't there be a market for a restaurant where you walk in and they say, this is 420 calories, this is the carbohydrates, this is the protein, this is the good healthy fat part, it's going to be great for you. And if that were true, wouldn't everybody eat there? What you're telling me is that people are going to walk in and have crispy chicken that's 3,000 calories. They're going to be totally happy to do it. And my fantasy restaurant where everything would be actually brutally healthy would fail miserably.
Well, I think there will be people who will still seek out something like that. What I realized over the course of us having this restaurant is if we'd had a salad, and we had a salad, but it was like a bean salad, but if we'd had like a kale salad or a quinoa salad that you could throw chicken on, people would have bought the salad.
Thinking that it's healthy.
Because you've already convinced yourself it's healthy. It's got to be healthy. It's a salad.
Right.
But they would actually get it and put the fried chicken on it and be like, oh my gosh, that's what we want. We already talked to people we knew. We could just tell that's what people would be doing.
So every creative project that you do is a storytelling adventure, but it's also a social experiment. And so this was a restaurant that was designed as a key component of a marketing campaign for Super Size Me 2 Holy Chicken. What did you learn from that social experiment?
Well, the better way to look at it is this: so it started off as a key component in the film for us to tell the story of kind of what do people want? Like, what do we want as consumers? And ultimately, we're told that people want to have this healthier option, and all this greenwashing has made us believe that from every fast food company you can think of. Sure. They all do it now. As we started doing that, we started to realize that's not what people want. What people want is a fried chicken sandwich. What people need is an education. So how do I create the place that does both those things at once? So that was kind of what Holy Chicken became when we made the film. And then on the kind of fourth day of our pop-up, when we did the one that was in the movie that you see, a franchise company calls us in Columbus, Ohio, and says, we want to help you put these all over the country.
Oh, yeah, pause right there.
Yeah.
You did not, that wasn't what you were thinking, or it was?
It was not. It was one of those things where we started thinking we could do this as a real restaurant when we started started working with the chicken farmers. My 2 chicken farmers, Jonathan Buttram and Zach Buttram, who grew I grew my own chickens for the film. That was the other thing, is we wanted to tell you a true kind of farm to table experience. Like, where does your food come from? How does it get there? How do you, that way you can understand everything that goes into the making of a chicken sandwich.
Does not come from a supermarket wrapped in plastic without its skin on its breasts.
Yeah, it doesn't have this happy little life like running around outside in a field either that we want to believe, these free range chickens that
They're not roaming free and then caught by chicken catchers.
They're roaming-ish, I would call it more of a waddle in like a giant barn that they can't really move around in. That's kind of like
this is
a waddle barn.
So go ahead, you get the call.
So we get the call from this guy. And again, so back when I was growing chickens with Jonathan and Zach, their whole thing was, we could do this all over the country. And at that point, I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, we could find local farmers and we could grow chickens to supply a local holy chicken in every town. And I was like, that's a brilliant idea. And so then when this guy called while we were doing the pop-up, that's when everything went together. And I was like, we need to pause for a second, because now this is like becoming real upon real upon real. So while we started talking about it with Jonathan and Zach about really expanding this out, when that guy called, it became,
a thing,
100% a thing.
Yeah.
Because then it just wasn't us who was like, we love each other. We love our ideas,
So make some news. What can we expect next from Holy Chicken, the restaurant?
Well, so we did the pop-up in New York City, which that was kind of we wanted to make sure we could draft off the press of the film, because the film, was coming out. That's one of those once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. You're never going to be able to marry those two kind of opportunities at once. We did the pop-up in New York City. We closed that down. And so next is a permanent brick-and-mortar location that we're going to start looking for in D.C.
Oh, wow.
In D.C.?
That's of all places.
Why D.C.?
Part of what I believe in is kind of a mission. How can we tie it into something like food advocacy? And ultimately, that's what the film is. And that's what Holy Chicken is. Holy Chicken is a center for food advocacy, for fighting for farmers' rights. Like, how do we do more for farmers, more for chicken farmers? How do we empower them and get them out from under the thumb of big chicken? You talk about big food. There's no bigger problem in the food industry today than big chicken. Tyson, Purdue. There's 5 companies that sell you 99% of the chicken you eat today.
Chicken is so incredibly expensive.
Well, chicken, the sad thing is if you saw the story about Costco, chicken doesn't have to be that expensive. And that's the sad part, is that we've created a scenario where we've driven down the price line of chicken. And our expectation is that chicken should be very cheap, should be a very cheap protein.
They're selling it for $4.99.
They're selling a rotisserie chicken in Costco for $4.99. And so there's a great story that was just on CNN that was all about kind of what you get, what you paid for, in essence, and tell the story of like, how are these chickens raised? What's happening? So there's a group of guys who are now opening, I don't even know how many, it's 50, 75 giant chicken farms in the Midwest that are going to do nothing but raise these like low-priced chickens, like thousands and thousands at a time.
So what makes a chicken a low-priced chicken, if I might ask?
Just volume. It's just literally volume time. They're not going to be organic. They're not going to be free range. They're not going to, be all the things that you think that a chicken would be, hormone-free, antibiotic-free, like all the stuff that's going to make them, whatever's going to make them grow faster, grow cheaper, and
all of modern science into a chicken.
That's right.
I thought we were supposed to stop doing all that in 2020.
Well, I think there's a lot of things that we should try and stop doing in our food system. Yeah.
Now we're starting it.
Of course, what's really important, Morgan, and I want to just make sure we're clear about it. Yeah, the food is absolutely terrible for you because it's crispy, but you've done an amazing, amazing job.
Part of what we're trying to do is show you there is a better way to do this. There is this farm to table experience we talked about, where we will be growing the chickens outside of a town with an actual farmer. You're going to meet that farmer in the store. Like, he'll be able to come to Holy Chicken. You'll be able to actually meet the guy. Like, our chicken farmers came to New York, and people getting to meet them changed the way they looked at their food. Like, once they started having conversations with these guys over a chicken sandwich, was amazing. So the goal for us is, how do we continue to do more of that, where you have local farmers who actually grow the chicken. Like, the bread that was made at Holy Chicken came from Eli Zabar's uptown. But the whole goal is for me to tell you how the food system works and what's wrong with it. Yes. Like, that's the thing. It's like, how do I kind of pull the curtain back and let you understand how messed up the food system is and kind of where it's broken?
So, assuming I understood what happened in my Holy Chicken experience,
yes,
what would you want me to do?
Well, it depends. And I can tell you exactly what people did. Some people left saying, I don't know how I should feel. And I was like, well, how do you feel? They're like, I feel upset. And I said, good, you should feel upset. You should feel upset about everything that's happening in our food system today. You should be really upset about what's going on. And then other people would be like, I don't think I'm going to come back. And I'd be like, okay, well, I hope you do. And I said, the chicken sandwich is really good. You're going to be wanting this thing in a couple weeks. And then there was other people that said, wow, I'm going to come back and I'm going to bring some people with me. And so over the course of even 2 weeks, we saw people coming back 2-3 times, bringing different groups of folks back that they wanted to kind of experience Holy Chicken.
So we're doing two things. We've got education from hey, these are local farmers, this is local produce, these are local bread bakers. And then we've got the fact that you're eating complete and absolute garbage that tastes fantastic, but the food was at least sourced in the most responsible way.
Yes.
But Holy Chicken isn't bad for the world. Holy Chicken is actually good for the world. What we're telling you is how the food system is screwing up the world. Like what's at Holy Chicken is actually good for everything. It's good for farmers because we're going to get farmers out from under Big Chicken where they're going to be able to grow independently and work independently outside of Big Chicken.
Right.
Where bread manufacturers are going to be able to be independent bread manufacturers, independent pickle manufacturers, vegetables, you name it. All of these things are going to be able to be done outside
so
of
great for local agribusiness.
Great for local agri. It's like literally it's going to kind of formulate the idea of what local actually means because now not only is it going to be local that I can go to a grocery store, I can go to a farmer's market because stuff in a grocery store isn't even local. Like the idea that now I'm going to be able to go to this place and I know the guy where it comes from up the road, where I can go to his farm, where I can meet that farmer. He'll come to Holy Chicken and I can actually have a conversation with him. The more we can create those experiences in a local kind of fast casual fast food environment will transform fast food.
Right after listening to this, many of our listeners will be at a Costco or another supermarket, and they're definitely going to think differently when they're in that aisle, right? And they're probably still going to buy the chicken.
Well, then they should watch Super Size Me 2 Holy Chicken, just so they can get kind of a bigger explanation of the chicken world. I want people to watch the movie. I want people to eat a sandwich. I want people to come have a big, giant, delicious, deep-fried truth bomb, deep crisped. Sorry, we don't use the F word. A deep crisped truth bomb.
I love you, brother. Thank you for coming, Morgan Spurlock.
Morgan, this is amazing. Yeah.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Really fantastic. All right, Ross. Morgan Spurlock.
He starts a restaurant to market the film, but the film ends up marketing the restaurant.
Which markets the film.
It's a virtuous circle.
A tremendous virtuous circle. And actually a little bit odd too, because at the end of the day, you walked in there and it basically said, this is going to taste really good.
And it's definitely not good for you or your 10-year-old son that you've brought here.
So,
and yet you take the next bite.
So the restaurant's based on the truth. You know the truth. And you do it anyway.
What does that say about us?
I don't know. Does the truth actually matter?
Think about that.
Hey, it's Shelly. Just wanted to thank everybody for the super nice tweets and social media posts and emails. And if you want to subscribe to our newsletter, you can do it at thinkaboutthis.fm. Of course, you can always tweet us at thinkaboutthis.
So, Shelly, I remember you wrote something about a year ago, and I remember reading it, and now it's back in the news again about deep fakes.
Yeah.
Now, not everyone remembers what deep fakes are or might not know. What's a deep fake?
So deep fakes are images and videos and audio that are created by AI that are indistinguishable from real images, videos, and audio.
So here's the thing about that. For, 200,000 years, we've relied on two things, our eyes and our ears, to separate the truth from fiction.
Yeah.
And what you're saying now is we can't rely on those two things anymore.
We are minutes away from not being able to understand what we're seeing.
Most people hear you say that, but until you actually look at a
Well, let me
deep
show you.
fake-
Here, you can't see this podcast, people, but this is a website called thispersondoesnotexist.com. Ross, just hit the refresh button.
Yep, there it is.
This person does not exist.
That's a real person, though.
Yeah, but it isn't. It isn't anything like a
And
real
I hit
person.
refresh again.
Yep. And it's not a real person. And you should try this at home because everyone should try this at home.
You cannot tell.
Thispersondoesnotexist.com. And every time you hit the refresh button, you are going to see an image that is created by two neural networks.
This is insane.
Yeah, this is. So, Ross, the way this works, there are two neural networks. One is a generator and the other one is a discriminator. And what comes out is an image you believe is real. And it looks pretty real. This is a pretty good looking person, don't you think?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I think that is real.
Press refresh and there is another pretty good looking person. Yeah. But you can use the same technology to make, let's say, this retina scan does not exist. Or this fingerprint does not exist. So there's going to come a time in the very near future where we cannot tell at all whether something is real or fake. But think about this. Let's take this to a completely new level.
Okay.
We worry about bots. We're worried about the 2020 election. We're worried about how people are going to get in our heads.
Yep.
So I take this person who does not exist and I put that as my Facebook profile picture or my Twitter profile picture. And now I use an app like FaceApp to either age and or make a better version of it or other additional pictures of that person, since that person only exists at one time in the generative adversarial network that you see. Then I take an app like Zao, a face swapping app. let's say someone had the unfortunate reality of dying and I found a Facebook page that had lots of family pictures. I can now take my new generated human being and put them in that family. And all of a sudden, with a fake email address or two, it would take you hours to figure out that person wasn't real. That's not a bot anymore. That's a fake life. That's a generated life. I'll do that 300, 400, 500 times. Now I can start having those profiles follow each other. And by the way, while you and I would have fun doing that, that's my idea of fun.
That's your idea of fun.
Imagine when a nation state decides this is how we are going to mess with people. We're going to actually build completely generated families, completely generated profiles, not just little bots running around in headless Chrome, actual real life, indistinguishable from the real thing. And by the way, using more AI, I can schedule those tweets to be random. I can use narrative generators where I can take either red state point of view or a blue state point of view or an anarchist point of view or a trade unionist point of view or whatever serves my purpose. And I can start tweeting out and I can start posting. All of a sudden, this is a human. So tell me how this is going to be combated.
I'm still sitting here hitting refresh.
Yeah.
On this person does not exist. And I still can't believe that my eyes don't know the difference.
No, you don't know the difference. And by the way, there are tools out right now that would allow you to do this with motion and with audio. So I've got audio and video and stills that can be completely, absolutely indistinguishable from nature. Think about that.
Yo, what's up? I hope you like our podcast. If you do, subscribe. Thinkaboutthis.fm. So, Shelly, I feel like I actually know less than usual today.
Really? Why?
Well, because I thought I understood, at least to a certain degree, the laws of physics as they apply to time. Like the fact that it could be noon right now and it would be noon right now.
Yes.
And that you can't change that. But the thing that's messing with me is that there are scientists who have used a quantum computer, which is better than my computer, to reverse time.
That story is not exactly true, and I'm really sad that it was sensationalized in the press that way. I saw the headline too. Scientists used quantum computer to reverse time, possibly breaking laws of physics. Absolutely not true. So first of all, they did an experiment with quantum computing where they ran the clock forward and then basically they ran the clock backwards. So the way you need to experience this in your own mind is imagine a close-up of two billiard balls hitting one another.
Okay.
If you ran that forwards or you ran it backwards, it would look exactly the same to you.
Right.
Right? Do it in your head. Nothing else is in the frame but the two balls, and then they come in, they hit each other, they go away. Run that forward or backwards, it's going to look exactly the same. But if I zoomed out the pyramid of all the billiard balls on a table and you hit it, they would go from the ordered state of that triangle to everywhere.
Yes.
So that's what actually happens in the real world. These guys were looking at a small, little, tiny segment, and they ran the program forwards and backwards. They did nothing, quantum computing or otherwise, to change the entropic principle, which is that everything goes from an ordered state to an unordered state, or to mess with the second law of thermodynamics. You don't mess with the second law of thermodynamics. Things go from an ordered state to an unordered state. That's the way the world works. They didn't prove anything different.
So why was this published as truth?
You know, that's the part that bothers me. First of all, quantum computing is fantastic, and it's really interesting all by itself. And quantum physics, the idea of quantum mechanics, is so maddening that without going into detail, anyone who says they understand quantum mechanics is lying. Even the people who are teaching it will tell you it is maddening and completely counterintuitive and bends your brain on the best of days. You don't need to sensationalize stuff that's already amazingly hard and amazingly amazing. The most important thing you can take away from this episode, the most important thing you can take away from the idea of truth in science, is that science is always true, whether you believe it or not. So think about this. The scientific method doesn't ask us to believe that we've changed the psychological arrow of time. It doesn't ask us to do anything it can't prove. It says, define a question. Gather the information and observe it. Form a hypothesis that explains what you see. Test that hypothesis. A hypothesis is something that can be tested. Analyze the resulting data. Interpret that data to draw a conclusion. Publish your results and have other people beat you up about it, and then retest it. And you don't have to believe in science. It's going to be true whether you believe it or not.
Shelly, I got a phone call.
Yeah?
Earlier today.
From who?
The sales guys.
No way.
At Westwood One.
Yeah, what'd they say?
They like our show.
Uh-huh.
More importantly, the advertisers like our show.
After only one episode?
Yep, just one episode.
That's amazing.
They like us.
That's fantastic.
I know. I was feeling pretty good about it. But There was one question.
What was the question?
They have the paragraph that describes our show, right? And it's there at thinkaboutthis.fm.
Yeah, think about this. Yeah, it talks all about the show.
Okay, right. But the sales guy from Westwood One asked me what the show is about.
I never thought about it like that.
That's what I said.
What?
I said I never thought about it like that.
What do you mean? You just didn't think about it like that?
No, that's what the show's about. Then I never thought about it like that.
No.
That's the show.
So what'd you tell him?
I never thought about it like that. That's
No.
what our show's about.
But what did you tell him?
That's exactly what I told him. That's what we talk about. Is that you thought about it like this, and now you think about it like that.
So you told him.
Or I didn't think about it like that.
You told him that you didn't think about it like that.
From the Westwood One Podcast Network.